Hello everyone, I am Vanchika from White Falcon Publishing, and today I am in conversation with Geetanjali Panda ma'am, who is the author of this incredibly beautiful book called An Inedible Tapestry. Before I start the interview, I would like to introduce you to the book and also to the author. So, The Inedible Tapestry, A Voice Through My Grandpa's Memory Lane, recounts the touching tale of a young man, Sri Vrindavan Acharya, a Mahajan's resident son-in-law who lost his pregnant wife in an unforeseen and heart-wrenching circumstance that shook him to his core. Barely a few months into the tragedy, the merciless cholera epidemic swept through his family, snatching away three precious lives in a brief span of just 9 days, which irrevocably altered the very trajectory of his life forever. With its authentic and engaging storyline, this non-fiction narrative explores the complexities of human experiences, the unshakable resolve and resilience of its protagonist as a testament to the human spirit, thus inspiring readers to push beyond their limits. Despite tackling tragedy with gravity, the author's masterful wordplay and light-hearted touch elevate this book into a standout narrative. Before I move forward, I would also like to introduce you to Gitanjali ma'am, who wrote this incredibly beautiful book. Uh, Hailing from Odisha, Gitanjali Panda is a debutant and an emerging voice in the literary world. Despite holding an MPhil degree in zoology, her natural inclination towards literature unearthed a treasure trove of memories recalling the captivating stories of her grandfather. With a surprising realization, she discovered her own inner author, a voice to share with the world. With a unique perspective, her work, An Inedible Tapestry, is set to enthrall readers from diverse backgrounds and age groups. When not lost in crafting verse, she spends her time sketching portraits and enjoys intimate conversations with her garden blooms. Once again, welcome Gitanjali ma'am. What actually drove you towards literature despite being from a background like zoology?
Yeah, actually, I always had an inclination towards the literature. Uh, I like talking to people and I like nature, so I just want to craft on them, craft the words in them. So, since my college days, I used to write down the poems, and even some of them were also published in few magazines. So, I did that.
Great. I mean, it's always wonderful to hear people about their inclination towards literature because that's perhaps what is very important in the fast-paced, growing digital a time to skip that digital and screen time period and move to books, right?
Yeah, definitely.
This account in the blurb is mentioned as a non-fiction. Did you feel a personal connection to the protagonist's journey, or it is a true story on its own, or there is another story about it being called a nonfiction?
Okay. Yeah, it's actually my book, An Indelible Tapestry. It recounts the touching tale of my own grandfather, Sri Vrindavan Acharya. So, growing up in a residential school since my childhood, I always feel disconnected from my family. But during the super cyclone of Odisha in 1999, I I found unexpected blessings that to spend with my family, few precious months to spend with my family. So, especially with my grandfather, by always being around him. In the aftermath of the cyclone, as there was no distraction to turn to, my my interest shifted towards my grandfather's life. So I asked him to recount all his life experiences, and he generously also unfolded his life like a novel, rich in vivid details. And I swear to God, I found it astonishingly exciting. So I thought to jot it down and bring it to the world before it lost in the midst of the time. Actually, he had touched my life in ways no one else could. Hence, portraying him as the main protagonist of my book, actually, I had tried my best to pay him a tribute in a grand way. That's it.
Because it is a very personal story, I'm sure when you were writing this, there were moments when the weight of grief became very overwhelming for you. How did you carry on?
Actually, as he had explained, the few things in his life, like how he lost his wife, pregnant wife, how he lost 3 persons from his uh, family in a cholera epidemic, all those things, these are the primary tragedies of his life which shook him to his core. And they they just changed the very trajectory of his life forever, and left a trail of despair and uh, future shrouded with uncertainty. But through these daunting obstacles, he committed to reshape the future of his future generations. And these obstacles made him stronger than ever before and revealed his true potential. And also, it made him stronger or tougher than ever before. So his resilience and courage brought him success, and that is very much memorable and worthy. So through my masterful wordplay, I have tried to capture all his raw emotions and struggles, ensuring that it should be engaging, authentic, and respectful to my grandfather also.
All of these together, when it came on to you, you must have felt a way too much at some points of writing this book. So my question was, how did you actually carry on? How did you continue writing about this grief, about this memory, about the losses?
Okay, as I had already heard all these things about him during the in the aftermath of the cyclone, I just recollected all those memories, and I just wanted to write it down and bring it to the world.
My next question is to you. I mean, this is a brief question. Are you a single parent?
Yes.
Right. So, there's a idea of resilience. There is an idea of grief that has been talked about in a book. And I'm sure this writing also changed your outlook on these terms like resilience, power, loss, grief. And I am sure this was also impacted by how you did a wonderful job being a solo parent. So, do you think your narrative about these things have been changed because of being a solo parent, perhaps?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, while writing these books, actually changed my was a transformative experience for me also, because it gave me the power. It taught me the power of resilience and hope, courage, empathy, like all these things, and it also gave me a deep understanding about the kind of struggles the solo parents face while they in upbringing their children in a community. It also shifted my perspective towards the role or the importance of the community and the family in overcoming any kind of loss.
Was there any fond memory or a ritual that you can recount of while writing this book, or perhaps before writing this book? Something that you would like to share, it's something that's very close to your heart.
Okay, let me share you one turning point of my life. Just before writing my this book, actually, despite being a science student, I always had an inclination towards the literature since my college days. So I used to write some poems, and even some of them were published in few magazines. But few years back, I think 2 years back, uh, my life took an unexpected turn when my daughter Anvesha, she gifted me a book named 3000 Stitches written by Mrs. Sudhamurthy, and she insisted me to read it. Actually, she is an avid reader, but unwillingly she had to halt her passion of reading as she entered her class 12th. But she always wanted me to carry forward her passion of reading by being around her. So, frankly speaking, the book was lying on my table, and it took few days to develop some interest to read it. But when I once I developed the interest, the book just fascinated me with its simplicity, frankness, and freshness. And it also propelled me into a sea of thoughts. Then one evening, when I was gazing at the setting sun, she again came to me and told me to jot down my thoughts. I just laughed at her because I might end up with a disastrous certainty. But later, her words it encouraged me and it sparked an interest within me, and even I could feel what of volcanoes were gurgling within me and striving hard to come out and take a shape of a literally work. So her constant motivation inspired me and accelerated my thought process throughout my working this writing journey. So that was actually the turning point in my life, which I uh, which gave me the interest or the inspired me to write this book.
Right. You mentioned about your daughter.
Yeah,
Have been a solo parent, and I think this universe, this world sets an expectation and a set of expectations for women to follow for what we call and identify as gendered roles. Do you also feel that writing this, being who you are, is a challenge to these societal norms, these stereotypes, and these patriarchy that exists?
okay, as we know, in most of the societies, the traditional gender roles, they believes that the uh, caregiving roles are only of women. So women are responsible for the caregiving role for their families and the households, when the men are expected to be the primary breadwinners. But in some cases, when the men becomes the widowers and carry on the caregiving roles, they actually challenges these traditional gender expectations. But I think understanding the demand of the situation, it is essential to acknowledge and understand the main caregivers and give them the understand their responsibility for their families, and allow them to continue in their caregiving roles within a community framework. And by doing so, we can reduce the stress level of the main caregivers and also increase the community involvement and benefiting both the main caregivers and the community as a whole.
Right. So, it all sums up on how powerful this book is and why this book is powerful. Perhaps because it has come from you, one, perhaps also because it has come from a very deep and personal, connection with someone, right? And
Exactly.
I'm sure you want readers to carry something away from this, not
Mhm.
just in the moral compass and commitments, but something that they also want to pass on to nurture the next generation or to keep it within themselves and get in from the book. What is it?
I think the readers will definitely take the power of the resilience, hope, empathy, and courage, all the things to nurture their future generations. Moreover, I think the book will spark an interest within the readers to so that they can explore their own ancestral history and stories before it lost in the midst of the time in this fast-paced and nuclear family-centric world. And delving deep into their own ancestral history and stories, they can also get more connected with their roots, and they can also have a deep understanding about their own identity.
the theme of the book and what you have covered in the book is perhaps also something similar to what you want the readers to carry away, but in a more larger and more deeper thoughts. And I had a wonderful conversation with you. While there are many more such underlying questions, and we can go on, and I do wish to go on and on the next time we meet. Thank you for taking time out and showing up to this interview, for trusting this interview and trusting me with this interview. I had a wonderful time talking to you, Gitanjali, and to everyone who's watching this interview. This is a sign to get hold of this book. It's available on Amazon, Flipkart, and WFP store. The book is called An Inedible Tapestry by Geetanjali Panda, and get hold of it ASAP because it will take you on a very emotional coaster ride. You will take a lot more than grief, a lot more than loss, and maybe a learning for a lifetime. Thank you so much, Geetanjali ma'am, again for joining this interview.
Thank you so much once again.